Brell, a.k.a. Mr. Talk It, a.k.a. the voice box of the culture, man. The station you tuned into is Talk It TV. We rolling back around with another installment of Talk Your Talk. This week, we got as martial art pillars, Curtis Barnett and Chris Barnett. How y'all doing today, fellas? Well, y'all introduce yourself, one-on-one to let everybody know who.
Go first, Go first. Chris Barnett. Athens raised me. Been here for I don't know how long, but Chris Barnett, Athens GA, BTA, Barnett Taekwondo all day. But man, we're here. Been here for a while. Getting ready to let y'all know, what we're all about, man.
So I'm glad he's here. I'm glad to say so much. Curtis Barnett, owner of Barnett Taekwondo Academy, and very happy to be here. Very honored to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all here, man. Let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Y'all speak on y'all family martial arts history, man. Give everybody, a little rundown of, how y'all grew up in the martial arts and your family background in the arts, and et cetera.
Yeah. How y'all want to do? So for us, our father was in the Air Force, and so we traveled. It seemed like every couple of years, we were always traveling and moving to a new spot. And so when we moved to Spain, that's when I started. Actually started going to school, and Chris was actually born in Spain, and so I don't know if I should say that or not.
Not now. I mean,
so it was when we lived in Spain. It was kind of obvious that I was in Spanish, and I would come home every day, a little beat up here and there. And my pop, serving. Sometimes he was there, sometimes he would be off and on tour and doing serving his country, or whatever. So. One thing he wanted to make sure he just got tired of me coming home crying, so it's like a real life Karate Kid movie. I come back and tears in my eyes. So we got me involved in martial arts, and to be honest with you, it wasn't so much of I'm gonna go here and beat up all these kids or anything. But the one thing that martial arts from when I first started, one of my primary reasons for starting was self-confidence and self, and everybody struggles with these kind of things nowadays, but the management of that, self-esteem, looking in the mirror and, knowing that you're worthy, knowing that you belong, and, not having enough self-esteem to take up for yourself. And so we started initially over in Spain. And then after that, we moved a few more spots. Moved back to Colorado, and then we moved to Kentucky. And in Kentucky, we took something called Shaolin Do Kung Fu. Look it up. A guy named Sinte Kwan. He's actually some kind of something like the Shaolin temples. It seems like over dramatic, but we didn't even know about it until we found out later. And then we moved to Georgia, and then this is where we started taking Taekwondo, and that's where the family venture started. Took with a few places here and there. We took my original Taekwondo teacher was a guy named Cheng Bei Yi and Cheng Wan Yi, and we took with them for a minute. And then Chris actually started taking before I did, and I got in a little bit later on, and started out as a family thing, and then grew into a love, and now it's a business for us,
Okay, that's what I'm about to ask you next about the birth of the Taekwondo school, the family school. Was Taekwondo the original martial art taught at the school, or?
When we first moved here, Taekwondo was the first. It was art that was taught there.
But Kung Fu was the first martial art that you learned.
Well, before that, when we were in Colorado, we took.
What was the first martial art both of you guys learned?
It was in when we were in. For me, it was when I was in Spain. He was still a baby, and it was.
What's the age difference between you two?
About 5 years. About 5 years, yeah. So, to be honest with you, it was some form. I know it was a Japanese art, some form of karate overseas, and we had a guy who taught us. I think it was a drill sergeant, man, or something like. He was some kind of whatever, but Miss Man was tough. And it was my first introduction, and again, kind of his how he taught. It always resonates, you know what I mean? He had a good, his name was something Williams, good dude. And I remember, and I still say this today, he said, I'm not here to be your friend. He said, I'm here to make sure that you can defend yourself. We'll be friends later. You know, that even to this day, I still tell the kids. We moved to Colorado, and I think it was Shotokan there, Kung Fu in Kentucky, and then we moved here. That's when our Taekwondo. That's when we started Taekwondo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big mine. Mine would be Taekwondo would be the first. Yeah, martial arts. Yeah, that I learned. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When we started taking in Kentucky, my father, because he didn't have to travel so much, and so that's actually when you got all our family involved with it. And we came to Georgia, the entire family started taking.
Okay, what year was that around? What year was that?
Sometime in the 90s.
Cause I think okay, because I think we met you. You went to Hillsman also, right? Too. Okay, that's why. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
so,
how long have you been in Athens around that time? You was here for like elementary school,
I
or?
think so. Man,
Okay,
might have
okay.
been a year prior. You know, I remember.
Yeah, you were a Wildcat one year. One day was Wildcat
that's
one
right.
year.
Okay.
Things were like just moving like super. When you move around a lot, it's almost like you have to go back because you don't know. It's hard to remember at what time you were at. It's not like we were just in one spot. We were.
Right.
This year was this year, and this year was this state of this country. So, yeah, man, it was in the 90s, sometime in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we from there we the whole family started taking with Chain Bay, and
Break that down. What was it?
So talking about where Chain Bay was.
Yeah.
So he.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
to school.
Okay. Talk.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he was it's right off the spot we're at now.
Okay.
And we took there for a long time. We took there for a minute. He moved to across town, and then we opened up shop where he was at, and then he eventually moved out of the state.
Okay. So as far as you can remember, it's always been a part of y'all, like.
Yeah, for real, literally.
Right. Cool.
Literally, they opened my eyes. There was some form of martial arts, whether it was Bruce Lee popping by, Jim Kelly, or no matter who it was, somebody was popping up. Martial arts wise for me, man. Yeah, so like it's in your DNA, like literally, you know. So
Cool.
always been an aspect of my life, no matter what. Can't escape it, don't want to.
Cool. That's a great attitude to have about it, man. That's a great attitude. So if y'all had to pick, what was your favorite martial art that you studied? If y'all had to pick one that was your favorite, which one would y'all go with?
Of course, Taekwondo. Duh.
Okay.
No.
Talk your talk.
Shoot. I can say now because I've done a bunch. I guess I should have dropped it on the end.
Yeah, go ahead and just
Mixed martial arts.
Yeah, go ahead and just drop everything you took,
doing-
and I'm going to go on to you,
doing,
Curtis, with the same.
Got you.
Yeah.
Been doing mixed martial arts for a while, so I've been able to dabble in a bunch of them, from jiu-jitsu and this. It's weird how I feel on it now. I feel honestly like every small child needs to learn jiu-jitsu for purposes of everything, just because of the aspect of it being going to the ground. They say 100% of the fights start standing up, 80% of them end up on the ground, no matter what. You know what I mean? In any type of situation, say for instance you're in a Walmart or something and somebody gets snatched up. That's physical. You're close range. Jiu-jitsu can show you, some certain different types of ways to maneuver and get out. Another thing that's cool about the Taekwondo aspect is there's also a bunch of joint manipulations and stuff like that. When you start breaking down Taekwondo, getting into the one steps, it correlates every type of martial art when you actually get into it. But to jump back onto my favorite, honestly the action of capoeira is amazing.
Break that down for the people not familiar with
capoeira. Like it's constant, it's non-stop. Yeah, the jinga, the rhythm, the emphasis on the music is so big, and then the roots of it. To know where that came from, man, it is big. Like to know that literally our ancestors, that was one of the things that they did, and to everybody back then.
See, that's one thing I've always heard, but I wasn't always 100% with the information as far as martial arts going back to like our ancestors.
Yeah. Capoeira is definitely one of them, man. One of the strong ones, because it looked like fun and enjoyment to what are they doing over there? Oh, I just hear some music. Little did they know, catch somebody with one of them spinning kicks. It's like lights out. But
right.
I definitely have to say capoeira would be one of my big three. If I had a big three, it'd be capoeira, taekwondo, and then jiu-jitsu wrestling.
Cool. Okay, how about you, Curtis?
I'm a taekwondo purist, man. Like
Okay.
I love the art. A big reason, and I believe this for every art though, and it's hard to put it in a vessel because a lot of how good you become at a martial art is about the time you put into it.
Okay.
And training, it's like anything in life, right? It all comes down to like work, you know, and what you put into it. So, for me, Taekwondo, because of the amount of time I put into it, I love the footwork. I love the chess match of it. It's a thinking man's game, and getting the base down in that art, I feel like helps other arts. You know, understanding, you know, action and consequence, and then understanding action, consequence, and the response to that. You know, and it not only the mindset of when you fight, it transfers over into the real world. It transfers over into the work environment. You know, we talk about in our class or at our school, we talk about mindsets of fighters, right? And you know, for example, we have like passive fighters, you have aggressive fighters, and then you have what we call trappers, right?
What would you consider yourself?
I'm you know what? Ultimately, you want to become all of it.
Okay.
You know, it's like rock, scissors, paper. You want to be a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think like the game of death villain.
Yeah. I think initially, my heart is more of a counterer, right? I'm not the one to go out and start stuff, but I got an answer for
whatever
if anything comes my way. You
Right,
know?
right.
And so you can see that in the workplace. You see people who are aggressive and dominate a conversation. In the 90s.
Cause I think because I think we met you. You went to Hillsman also.
Conversation and over, you see people who are passive and quiet, and those are the people who are usually underestimated. You know, then you got what we call the trapper. You know what I mean? Who's somebody who's thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead. And for us, that's like kind of the ultimate, you know, where you want to be. You know what I mean? Where you don't have to be too aggressive, you don't have to be too defensive. You know, you can learn to set up situations, and this can transfer over in life and every other environment also. I do love what he was saying as far as like, I think understanding groundwork, grappling, jujitsu. I think that's something that, you know, in our lives that man, it's important. And you know, I worked law enforcement for about 8 years. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I saw a lot of crazy stuff. You know, it was a great opportunity to see. I learned a lot and valued what I got out of it, but also it's a crazy world. But one thing I saw was, you know, like he was saying, a lot of fights go to the ground, and so having an understanding of how to, you know, utilize that is super important. And then, like you're saying too, I do love capoeira, man, because the story behind it is beautiful, and a lot of people, I wish people knew more about it. It's something that we offer at the school now. You know, it derives from Africa, and during the slave trades when they would come over, you know, slaves would be out in the field and they just looked like they were doing a dance. You know what I mean? Because you know, they wouldn't let them practice an art. They're not gonna let them learn how to defend themselves. So it was disguised as a dance. And then when they weren't being, you know, supervised or didn't have an overseer there, they would start throwing the kicks and the moves. And man, you talk about like strength, coordination. You see elements of it in breakdancing. You see elements of it, you know, in freedom and improv. It's improv with your body. So they're throwing, you're throwing. You have to have an answer right after, and it's constant. It's constant. So if anybody gets a chance, just YouTube it, man. It's great stuff.
Right, yeah, right. I'm glad that you shed some light on that, because I was unfamiliar with it myself, but I'm real interested now, man. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there will be too, man.
And like us, we just pretended to know it in the beginning. You know what I mean? Go out there and play some Tekken, couple Eddie Gordo moves, you know,
games,
only the movies. Yeah,
right.
You know?
So you've actually seen like actual like video game characters who made it from that martial art, like okay.
Yeah.
Tekken, Eddie Gordo, Christy, something, their names in there, but like that actually it was a movie called Only the Strong.
Yeah.
That movie, yeah. Okay, I know exactly. Okay, right. Y'all never seen that, pull that movie on, man. Yeah.
Man, that's that movie right there get you. You be like, okay, man, this is real. And then from there they the love grew even more for it. Really, for me, from Tekken, this dude named Eddie Gordo had dropped. It's crazy. Only black dude in the game. You know what I mean? So whatever. And he's like, okay, he's got dreads, this, whatnot. And you see him out there doing.
Wow, see, that's dope. Knowing that the makers of that game knew about it to put it in their character. That's dope.
You can tell they knew the dance aspect because one of his alternate characters was a guy named Tiger. And this big afro break dance, technically, which is capoeira, you know what I mean? Had the 70s outfit on and whatnot. So you see that, you see something that you love and you can't do it, but you're sitting there, I'm about to hit this move right now, you know what I mean? And then you actually learn it as you, like, my first time ever dabbling in capoeira was when I was down in Tampa, and that's when I was breakdancing a lot. So I was like, this ain't nothing but breakdancing, but you're telling me I can use my breakdancing as a form of martial art? Wow.
3, 2, 1.
All right, jumping back into things, I want y'all to get into speak on your individual fighting, individual fighting history, as y'all grew older, took y'all own paths, and what the arts took y'all to in your individual path.
So mine, aside from before we moved to Georgia, Taekwondo's been, again, basically my livelihood, like since we moved here. I competed locally, nationally, and internationally. Growing up, I had aspirations for Olympic level, and tried very hard in 2000 and tried again 2008. It's a very hard process, but the goal, even if that didn't happen, which it didn't, but it was to build so much of a resume when it came to Taekwondo that what's the saying? Shoot for the what is it? I don't want to butcher it. Shoot for the what?
Shoot for the stars.
Yeah, shoot for the stars.
Fall in the flag.
Yeah,
Right.
So, the thing about with Taekwondo is such a large community, and even to this day, man, there are people that I fought about 10 years back, and we still talk today. We network, we trade ideas. I still as a martial artist, so I think it's important that a lot of our Taekwondo are the style that how we practice at the school derives from the infusion of other arts. Our grandfather was actually a Golden Gloves boxer.
Okay.
And we had a cousin who's been on ESPN. He fought with was it Bernard Hopkins?
Okay.
So
Grandpa was a training partner for Bronze Bomber.
So it's even past us, man. The history. Other grandfather.
Brown Bomber. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Brown Bomber.
Apparently, I think grandfather was an enforcer, so he made things happen on his block,
Right.
But for us now, a large part of how we train is very similar to the fundamentals of boxing. Our lead leg is like our jab, right side our cross, and a big influence on Taekwondo, because every art you have, you kind of want to put yourself into it. So if it was capoeira, what makes it your unique? For us, Taekwondo, one reason why our Taekwondo was so successful was the infusion of other ideas and concepts. Bruce Lee's Tao Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, his principles and philosophy of intercepting, footwork, just thought process. His art changed modern martial arts, and if you read that book, you can adopt some of that into your own.
What's the name of the book?
Bruce Lee's Tao Jeet Kune Do. Every martial artist should have it. Every artist should have it. Every artist should have this because it just opens up your mind on, if you're not already thinking this way. Right now we're in a world where everything's exposed and you can YouTube anything, but like prior to that, you had to research. I didn't have YouTube. Right. Dating myself here, but you had to research and then read some of those principles he has in there. Perfect, and everybody's heard this one. Be like water. Right. You put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put it into whatever, it becomes that. You know, there's all kinds of just, and that's talking about adapting to your situations. You know, like for me, when I fight, or if I'm in a fight, or a taekwondo fight, or whatever, I have to adapt. I can't go in there and say I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And that's like life, right? In life, you can't say this is going to happen. Life throws all kinds of variables at you. And so, same principles, Bruce, same way we teach our taekwondo, I have to adapt to what's given. If I fight a tall guy, I have to use certain things. If I fight a short guy, I have to use certain things. Somebody who's fast, that's a different book. Somebody who's strong, I have to use something else. And so, we implement that into what we teach. And I always tell people with what we do in taekwondo, I know as much as a grain of sand on the beach, but I know what works for me, and I love to share that. But everybody has a way and a method, you know. And the smart martial artist opens his mind and he learns from everybody, and then makes it his own, you know.
Dope.
Me, where did I start at? I started, pretty much taekwondo, 4 years old actually, and then from there it grew. And then just to elaborate actually on bouncing outside of how much taekwondo implements on life, football wise, like just the simple high block. In taekwondo, that's a high block. Football, I used to get under the mask and everything. You can ask anybody out there. I was throwing palm hanging strikes, overhand rights, you name it, out there on the field. And it's crazy that, like, how big that martial arts has been to me. It's never left my life. No matter what the situation is, it's always some form of martial arts that can take care of the situation, no matter what. But to fall back on to how I got into it as much as I started wrestling in high school actually. So I did taekwondo for a hot minute, and in that household, everybody, and growing up with this superstar, it's like taekwondo, that's literally all I would hear. Taekwondo. So it's like, I was all of 5 foot nothing, and it's like, okay, my height's gonna shoot up sometime. Never happened, still never happened, I'm still waiting on it. And like, so I was like, let me branch off and be a star in something that, something else. So I was like, let's see what we can do. Football, again, it was getting the letters, but it was always, you're just a little too short, just a little too small. I was like, all right, let me figure something out. Boom, wrestling. Perfect. To me, if you look at it on paper, I shouldn't be wrestling, I shouldn't be fighting, shouldn't be doing anything. Height, weight, all that stuff. Wrestling was perfect to me, how I saw it. Again, what falls back onto that martial arts, how you look at it. I've got A, B, and C. Okay, so after A, B, and C, I've got to have AA, I've got to have AB, I've got to have AC, I've got to have BA, BB, BC. You know what I mean? So I've always loved that martial arts has always made me go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My triangle sometimes, branches all the way down to it won't stop actually. I'll never allow it to stop, because there's no way that I shouldn't be learning. You know what I mean? No matter what it is. 4-year-old kid throwing a kick. Oh wow, he's pointing his toe that way. Let me try it. Oh my God, it made it that much faster. That changes that when we're both punches. If I'm punching that much faster than you, I'm landing it. Meanwhile, yours is coming. By the time I'm landing, I can feel it. I'm moving out the way. That much of a second, you know what I mean? And that could just be from a pivot, from a simple pivot. You know what I mean? So, going into that, did the wrestling thing, did well over there. So you show, woo, all right. Did well there. Got a scholarship to wrestle in college and whatnot. Fell back into football thing. Went down to USF, and the crazy thing is, martial arts being a part of my life helped me transfer into breakdancing actually, which made it easy. A guy my stature, I can honestly say taekwondo, I wouldn't be able to do anything I've done really in my life because of taekwondo, because of the base that it gave me. The flexibility, the strength, the core strength, all that other stuff. There's no way somebody will say what. When I first moved to Florida, not when I first got down there. When I got down there, I got up to, I was 5'9", 330, but still breakdancing and stuff, doing stuff like that. I mean, if you go check out videos now, half of the comments are, there's no way he's doing this. Kung Fu Panda, what is this? You know what I mean? Type stuff like that. So with that aspect, I was breakdancing in the club, and somebody ran up on me and was like, you're a martial artist. They looked at me and I was like, what you talking about, man? I'm not trying to, you're in the club, you're the last thing you trying to, come on, man. Nah, man. He's like, I was like, nah, okay. So handed me a flyer, boom. It was a XFC fighter tryout. And I was like, I ain't got nothing to do. Let me go over there Saturday. And actually, like I said, I had been out that night. It was crazy because we were doing all the drills. And again, simple drills these guys couldn't do. Just the simple coordination that I learned from Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing half these guys, and these guys were boxers and stuff like that, but they didn't have like the, okay, cross step, boom, do this, do that. I'm in there, still half drunk, doing all this. You pause me?
Nah, go ahead.
Oh,
I
I was still in there, still doing this half drunk. You hear one of the guys, which one of y'all been drinking, man? So from there, honestly, it just grew. That's when I started to appreciate different martial arts even more. Because in my head, I was taking Taekwondo and wrestling to the top. You couldn't tell me nothing because I saw the boxers, I saw this, I saw that. Everything I was doing in the gym, they couldn't deal with. But then I also had my first couple of trainers were kind of, you have to do it this way. This is the way it is. Da, da, da. Again, I fall back to my A, B, and C. He's telling me to do it like B, but he doesn't even see C right here because he never took Taekwondo to see the aspect of a step forward, slide back, a V step to add it in to make the difference. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, from there, learned the different martial arts, did capoeira, did everything else, but I just try to keep it moving with the whole MMA and martial arts thing.
Dope.